Well, when the film began to be commercially successful, did you ever think about leaving Pittsburgh and going to New York or California?
I did, of course, and I've had several offers from a couple of the major independents to come and do pieces for them, but there's really absolutely no problem in working in Pittsburgh. I've worked in Pittsburgh for 15 years now, and all of our facilities are here. We have strong financial ties here, even though we do have an office in New York. My current partner, Richard Rubenstein, runs the New York office. He's my producer now. And
actually, you've been working in Pittsburgh on a sequel, as a matter of fact, which we're going to be able to see some scenes from right now, I understand.
Yeah, I don't call it a sequel as much as I do the second part of a trilogy. It's a much different film in that it's a high action film, more than it is a horror film, although it has horror elements in it. It's an extension of the basic phenomenon of the zombies, flesh-eating zombies, but that's really the only similarity. And it deals with some refugees, 2 SWAT troopers, and a television traffic helicopter pilot and his lady friend, who the phenomenon has reached major proportions and the cities are being wiped out. They take off in the helicopter and they land on Monroeville Mall. And of course the mall is infested with zombies when they arrive, and they are able to capture the mall.
It's Christmas time down there, buddy.
Well, the mall certainly is a switch from that little farmhouse in Night of the Living Dead. It must have made it much more complicated to shoot than the first film.
It was a very complex film to shoot. The logistics involved and the number of people involved make it a completely different experience.
Well, what about the third? You mentioned there'll be a third sometime, and you're planning?
Well, I would like there to be. Right now, I haven't gone beyond this concept, really. I have a very basic concept for the third film. In the first film, we deal with a small farmhouse, and there's a small group of people involved, and it's the very beginnings of the phenomenon. This film, which takes place in the mall, has a much vaster scope, and I think it carries on faithfully the socio-political concept in terms of the false security of a consumer society. What happens is that the group of people involved get tempted by the things that are available in the shopping mall. They actually win the shopping mall through a series of battles, and here we see them cleaning up the corpses of the zombies that they've been able to fight off.
What do? They take up residence there in the
They
mall?
take up residence in a civil defense storage area. And then along comes this band, in the end, a band of organized raiders, looters, that decide they want the mall too. And the climactic scenes are an enormous battle in the mall with these bikers and looters, and our humans are fighting for what they think is rightfully theirs since they won it, which is the mall itself. And of course they're able to get virtually anything they want. They have food and medical supplies, and in the storage area they set up housekeeping. They have furniture and the latest in stereo equipment and hi-fis and so forth. Of course, there's nothing on the television, so there's nothing that they can watch, and it's a disaster situation.
You've got some fantastic action footage.
Well, it's a much more action-oriented film than Night of the Living Dead, although it has the horror elements, and it has just as much graphic violence, I think, as the original film. So I don't know if we're going to come under as much attack for it, and we've grown up a little bit. It just doesn't have the same kind of nightmarish quality. It's a much expanded concept.
Take X-Force on 879.
Come on, man, let's go. Get the hell out of here.
us, that's all. There's no more room in hell.
What?
Something my granddaddy used to tell us. You know Macumba? Voodoo. Granddad was a priest in Trinidad. Used to tell us, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
And those are some clips. It was hard to put anything together that was coherent because
that
we just finished shooting about a week and a half ago.
It's a very effective preview of coming attractions. How long will it be before we see the feature?
Not too long, actually. We hope to have it finished by late March, early April.
You're editing it now?
Yeah, we're in the process of gluing all of that together and trying to turn it into something. It is a different film. It's much more of a today film, I think, than where Night of the Living Dead was a 40s movie made in the 60s, and this is a 50s movie made in the 70s. And
Catching up, then.
yeah, it's lighter. It's much more swashbuckling, and it's much lighter. Whereas Night of the Living Dead, rather than being a shock movie, it's not like Laugh in the Dark type or Jaws type shocks, where it gets to you by startling you physically with sound and a fast visual movement. Night of the Living Dead has a very ponderous kind of a nightmare quality to it, which I think is the real fear that people find in the film, or the fear experience in the film.
Do you expect it to get the same kind of reaction?
I hope that it will. I think it'll get it'll be a different reaction. Let's hope that it's similarly successful. But I think it's a different enough film that it's going to get a different reaction. It's still a horror film in terms of it being a zombie movie, but it's much bigger. The zombies are a little more sympathetic. We see them organizing slightly now, and if there's ever a third film, that's what it will be about. With Dario Argento, who we're co-producing this film, an Italian director, said that the third one has to be Zombies in the White House, and maybe that's what it'll be. I don't know.